Hello. So today I thought I'd show you how I do my burnt paper. I do all different types of burnt paper. I learnt the process, the technique from a lady called Claudette Hassel. I'll put a link at the bottom of the description. She's very, very talented, and she does burnt paper and she does paper stitching. She does all sorts. She's really, really good. I'll put a link in the description. I'd always thought I would try doing the burnt paper with an incense stick, but when I watched her video, it was brilliant. So what I've got a little candle, which I'll just put over there for the moment. I've got incense stick, just a cheap one from the pound shop. Pot of water, very important. A wet wipe, which is really nice and wet. I'll open it out a bit more so we've got a bigger area. And then I've got this little metal pot as well, just in case I need to put any bits of the incense stick in there. The paper I'm going to use, I've got this Chinese calligraphy paper. It's thin, you can just about see my hand through it. Some book pages, nice and thin again. Music paper, this is a bit thicker, I don't know if that'll do as easily. Some rust-dyed deli paper. More Chinese calligraphy paper. I think we need quite so much. And I'm going to try this for the first time, which is rust-dyed kitchen roll. And this is just one layer of the kitchen roll. Yeah, just one layer. So I'll rip a small piece off there. So we'll put our damp cloth there and our paper here. I always have a fire extinguisher at the side as well, just in case. We'll have one in the craft room because my husband does soldering and all sorts, and I do the burning paper, so I always make sure. So what I do, just light my incense stick, get it going a little, and then blow it out. We'll try the rusted paper first. You can see the tip is still glowing, and then I just touch it to the paper. If I've got an edge, I tend to go along the edge. That makes it look a bit more interesting. And I just do it randomly. Just trying to keep the edge of the paper away from the candle as well. And some of the holes will keep going. As you can see here, it's going. I tend to just dab it onto my glass mat, and that puts it out. So there we see we have some nice texture with the rust and the burnt paper. Just go again, trying to keep the smoke away from the camera so you can see a bit better. It does run, as you can see, it runs and runs and runs. If you want to stop it at any time, just dab your wet tissue on the top, and that should stop it. This is eating away quite a lot, but I like that. So I'll put that at the top. I'll wipe up the ash with my damp cloth. And we'll try something else. The end of my incense stick is still red hot, so it should, yeah, it's still working. Yeah, this is very, very thin, and it's running away quite a lot, so it probably won't work, but I've got this little bit here. If you want to stop it, just dab it with the damp cloth and it stops it. So I like that, but it's a bit too flammable. There we are, so we get the ashes away. We'll try the music paper. This is a little bit thicker, so it might not do. Oh, it is. Sometimes your incense stick just needs relighting. Try to get the smoke away. Sometimes if it's a bit thicker paper, you can keep the end of the incense in the stick in the hole. Just make it bigger by just moving it around. The thicker paper doesn't always burn, but you've got a little bit more control with the thicker paper. That. I'll just get the ash away. Need to relight my incense stick again. Blow it out. This is the book pages. This is a little thinner, so this will do easier. As you can see, the thinner papers do a lot quicker. Well, that's quite nice. And lastly, just the plain. Just have a mop up of the ash. The plain Chinese calligraphy paper. I'm just going to get the ash off the end. And the longer, with this, the longer you leave the tip of the stick in the paper, the bigger the hole will get, and you can move it round to make the hole quite a lot bigger. I quite like, as I've said before, to go on the edges of the paper, and then it doesn't look so straight. Just be random, completely random with where you go. That's gone out again. You don't always have to burn right through the paper. As you can see here, I'm just doing little dots. It just marks it, but it doesn't actually burn through. If possible, I would do this outside, but it's the middle of winter here in the UK at the moment, and it's not possible. It's too damp. I tried, and the incense stick just went out straight away. but always do it in a very controlled way. And then when I've finished and I don't want this anymore, I just stick it straight in the pot of water, and that puts it out. That's it. Got all the ash under control. And then I'm just going to put the lid on our candle, which will put it out because that takes away its oxygen. So everything we've used is out now. So we'll have a look at what we've got. This is the, could do with something darker. Here we are. This is the Chinese calligraphy paper. That's lovely. This is just a little area of the book pages. Again, very nice. The music paper was a bit thicker. It didn't do quite as well, and it's still damp from where I put it out. I like this, but it was a little bit uncontrollable. The kitchen roll. Nice, but just a little bit too flimsy, and it took off a little bit too easily. But I can still use that. And this I really like. This is the rust dyed deli paper. And it took off fairly well. It sort of burnt through more than I wanted. But I really like that idea. And I like the unrusted paper with the little holes in, and then the big hole where it's burnt through quite a bit. So that on top of, let's have a look. Find a piece of paper you can put it on there and look interesting on. Yeah. There we are. On top of some maybe script, something like that, some words. Looks really, really good. If you actually put that onto, so that there's plain paper underneath a little and script under there, that looks great. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Just quite a quick video, but one that somebody asked about my technique, which I learnt off Claudette. So I'll put a link to her YouTube channel in the description.